Chiefs fans, you're probably reeling from the Justyn Ross release and Rashee Rice's 30-day jail sentence. On this live stream, we're going to talk about how that could reshape the team's future. So stick around and find out which player might step up and save the season.
Chiefs Kingdom. What's up, baby? Noah Gray here, tight end for your Kansas City Chiefs. You're listening to All Chiefed Up with Mike and Steve Williams.
Woo! Let's get it going, Chiefs
baby, let's
Kingdom.
go.
How we doing, ACU crew? Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Appreciate you guys rolling in here, waiting a couple extra minutes on your boys here. Appreciate you guys so much for that. Do us a favor. Let's get the thing started off the right way today. Click that like button. Share it out with your friends. Do whatever you got to do. Let's get as many Chiefs fans in here tonight as we can. See, the chat's already lit, baby. We got to keep it going. Bryant said so. So make sure to get in the chat. All that fun stuff. Mike, big news this morning. Kind of came out of the blue.
What a day.
I think a lot of people thought that we weren't going to hear anything about the Rashee Rice case until after the season. That's kind of been the common thing people's been talking about.
Yeah.
He won't be suspended this year because everything's got to play out legally first, and the NFL won't touch it until then, so he's not going to get suspended this season.
Right.
Then, out of the blue, on a Thursday morning, July 17th, they come out with the news that he's been sentenced by a judge in Texas, and we all know
Right.
what happened. 5 years probation, 30-day jail sentence that he can serve anytime over the 5-year probation period. I think we know what's going to happen here. There's going to be a suspension, right?
Yeah, the suspension's coming. I think it could go one or two ways. It seems as though Rashee Rice kind of got a slap on the wrist with this thing. Like, for all the people that say the Chiefs get favorability with calls, the court system looks to be favorable as well. Or he's got a hell of a lawyer, by the way.
That's called a rich person thing. Mike.
Right.
I don't think that has anything to do with
So
the
this
Chiefs.
is what basically happened. The 5 years probation kind of thing is kind of like a deferment, right? So if he does what he's got to do for these 5 years and he serves that 30-day jail sentence within these 5 years, those felonies are wiped clean, Steve. That is not on his record anymore, according to certain lawyers and sources. So basically, at the end of this, if he keeps his nose clean, this isn't even on his record anymore. Let's just think about that for a second. Who in the world could have pulled this off if you're not in the NFL, right?
Yeah, well, here's the thing about it. I do understand that what Rashee Rice did was very stupid. It could have killed people.
It was ignorant.
It was dumb to walk off, and it was just handled the wrong way from front to back, and there's nothing good about it. But I also have to look at it from the lens of, well, nobody got killed. From what we know, nobody was seriously injured. We know there's some civil suits. It looked like if you looked at the footage, you looked at the wreck, you looked at the other cars, the damage was minimal. I think the worst part of it was probably him just walking off like it didn't matter, right?
Yeah,
and
that
I think
was the slapping up
that
part.
just makes him look bad because, hey, was he drinking? Was he on drugs? Did he have drugs with him? Was he trying to hide something? Why did he hightail it? And here's another thing. He was on the phone with somebody. So was it his agent? Was it a friend? Was it a parent? Was it someone being like, hey, get the hell out of there? Because I'd rather you get a hit and run as opposed to a DUI, aggravated, whatever it might be. So, yeah, there's a lot to it, and it sucks either way. It's not good. But the fact of the matter is the kid did it. Kids screw up. They screw up majorly when they're in the position of someone like a Rashee Rice. They think they're invincible. They're making a lot of money. They're popular. It's not an unheard of thing. I mean, we've seen far worse, like Henry Ruggs, right? That just happened to end. That could have ended the same way. But he just got really lucky that it didn't. But that's the thing about it, man. I think what happened is he got a sentence from a judge that, A, you got really good lawyers, you got a lot of money, you're a prominent person, but also, hey, it's a young kid, screwed up. This is what he gets, and see if he can recover from it. I think Rashee Rice is going to keep his nose clean.
Do you think
I do.
that the punishment was enough, and this process has been enough for Rashee Rice to set him on the right path going forward? Or do you think
I would hope
within
so.
a couple of years when this passes, he didn't get hit on. He didn't get hit hard enough, and he's going to do something else dumb. Like he's going to make a dumb decision, because that's what this is supposed to be about, right? And I'm afraid that Goodell may look at it as like, well, the legal system let him off, but we don't have to. We could give this cat 8 games. We could give him an entire season, and I think it would be justified.
Well, Mike, I would hope so, that it would open his eyes up and be like, hey, this was dumb. I will not do anything stupid like this in the future. But here's the thing about it, man. All these other kids should be seeing this stuff and learning from other people's mistakes, and it's not happening.
Right.
We've seen this over and over and over again with the same kind of violations, just speeding, racing, all ridiculous stuff. And Henry Ruggs got it the worst, man. He killed a lady and a dog, and he did a lot of jail time over it. Probably, he got off easy too. Let's just say that. It should have been much, much worse for Henry Ruggs. But like these other guys still did the same thing after that happened. If that didn't teach them a lesson, I don't know if their own little screw ups will. I mean, you still got guys out there. Hell, you had Shadur Sanders the other day driving 113 miles an hour.
Right.
It's just, I don't know if it's going to help or not, but I would hope personally, like you've been through that already, live, learn, go on about your business. But like, I think these kids have got to start paying attention and learning from other people's mistakes too.
Right. So I'm just going to bring this up in case anybody hasn't seen it. We'll get through it really quick and then we'll move on. Rashee Rice has probably been talked out, way too much. But anyways, Rashee Rice pleads guilty to collision involving serious bodily injury and racing. That's the 2 he pled guilty to. And then this is what the official document said. On July 17th, Rice pled guilty in Dallas in the 194th Judicial Court District to 2 third-degree felony charges: collision involving seriously bodily injury and racing on a highway. The charges stem from the crash that occurred on March 30th with his Lamborghini, blah, blah, blah. This caused a chain reaction that affected multiple vehicles. After the collision, Rice failed to check on the welfare of the victims. So we know what happened there. And then this says, a part of the plea agreement with the Dallas County District Attorney's Office, Mr. Rice was sentenced to 5 years of deferred probation. So that, again, what we're talking about. He was also sentenced to 30 days in jail as a condition of his probation. So he can do this 30 days. Basically, see, what he's going to do is he's going to come in, and any weekend he decides he wants to go check himself in, I guess he can go just serve it, and it'll count as 1 day,
Correct.
2 days, whatever he wants. So it's kind of wild, but that's what they said.
I think like normal everyday people serve weekend sentences all the time. So
Right.
it might be a little bit more flexible, which, kind of comes along with the territory. I imagine if you have a job where you travel a lot, maybe a judge would be a little more flexible on that. But there's people that we know in everyday life that serve weekend sentences of like 30 days, but they just go on Saturday, Sunday.
Right. They let them like go to their job and have a life,
Right.
and then they'll serve on the weekends or whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end of it, it says Mr. Rice was required to pay restitution to all their victims for their out-of-pocket medical expenses prior to the plea. The restitution totaled $115,000. So we also seen, Steve, that it looks like he settled a civil lawsuit yesterday for $1 million plus lawyer fees. So he's taken care of it bit by bit. There's probably 1 or 2 more civil suits out there. It is what it is. I think looking forward, it's got to be just focusing on the Chiefs, because I feel like this probably come out of the blue for the Chiefs today. I don't think they probably thought they were going to be facing this week going into camp. I think it's a little bit of a distraction, but in a way, aren't you a little glad that now you know what he got? Now the NFL fine could come any day, and I'm sure the Chiefs want it sooner than later, because this gives you time to possibly add a receiver that you weren't going to take onto the 53-man roster, which we'll talk about in a minute. You've got a possibility of adding a veteran free agent, which there's not much out there. Let's be honest, just a bunch of old dudes. And then on top of that, you can start looking for other camp casualties that maybe you could bring onto this roster as well. And we'll talk about that a little bit. But I think the number one guy right now, not to be pumped up over somebody's downfall, but I think today the 2 biggest winners were Juju Smith-Schuster and probably Skyy Moore, Jaylen Royals. Between those 3, and I'll put Skyy Moore there because now it kind of feels like Skyy Moore is definitely going to make this roster now if Rashee Rice gets suspended going into the season.
That's something to talk about, man. But before we move on to that, I think in the big picture, what really is going to kind of affect Rashee Rice the most, and I think will maybe get it through his head because it's going to hurt really bad, is financially, correct? This kid's a kid that is on a rookie contract. You already said he had to settle one civil suit for $1 million plus lawyer fees. The lawyer fees themselves are probably through the roof. He's got several more civil suits coming his way that he's going to have to settle.
He's already paid $115,000 in medical bills.
On top of all that, and then he's going to be looking at fines maybe from the league financially. If he's looking at suspension, that's a lot of money lost there off the contract. I think that it's going to hurt him in his pocketbook, buddy, and I think maybe that would be the lesson right there.
You're not even taking into account when this guy's contract comes for an extension at the end of his rookie deal. This kind of now goes into the Chiefs and Brett Veach's favor and says, look, we can't give you maybe what you want because you're a little wild.
I don't know, man.
You're a wild card.
We'll see how all that goes, but it's yet to be seen. I'm sure it'll come down. Best case scenario, I think, is like you said, it's over, it's done. You know what he got sentenced with.
Right.
Now we know what criteria the NFL is going to go by when they suspend him, so we know this. So best case scenario is they just suspend him at the beginning of the season. I think it's going to be somewhere between 2 and 6 games, and I know that's leaving it kind of open. But I've heard 2 to 4 from like Matt Derrick. We talked to Warren Sharp today on a video that we got coming out tomorrow. He said probably somewhere around 4 to 6. So I think there's a little bit of a gap there in what people are thinking and what people are hearing that have their ears to the ground. So we'll leave it between 2 and 6. But either way, we can get that out of the way. He can get back and we can focus on football in Kansas City. Hopefully that'll be the end of that, and we won't have to worry about that anymore. But that being said, I want you guys to put in the chat how long you think he's going to be out as far as suspension goes, and hopefully it's the beginning of the season. But let's move forward, Mike. How does this kind of change the outlook for the Chiefs going into this season, knowing that there's a suspension looming on Rashee Rice? Are they going to handle the wide receiver room a little bit different than they would have previously? Do you think that someone like a Skyy Moore now has a better chance of staying on this roster? Does someone like an Elijah Badger have a better chance of making the roster?
Right.
Tyquan Thornton? Or do you think they just kind of go with what they were doing and they still stick with maybe 6 receivers, and if he gets suspended, he gets suspended?
Yeah, I think that the Chiefs want to know quickly. If it's me, I want to know ASAP. I would rather them hand down the suspension here in the next couple weeks than to let this thing drag into mid-season and possibly say, look, we'll just suspend them for the rest of the year, and then you miss them at playoff time. Now, look, there's 2 trains of thought about that, I guess. You're going to have 2 sides of the fence. You're going to have a lot of people that no matter what this suspension is, they're just Chiefs haters, and they're going to say he got a slap on the wrist and he's not getting nothing. And now the league's not giving him nothing. Right. And then you've got a lot of people that says, well, if they don't suspend him for the entire year or they don't suspend him at the playoff time, then it's not anything. They can suspend him for 15 games, but if they let him come back for the playoffs, that's going to rub people the wrong way. So I think the league's in a lose-lose situation here. So I think the Chiefs just need to get it done early. I think they want it done early. And I think it will affect how they look at things, because now it becomes, we really need to take a look at Juju. Is Juju going to be able to hold up and be that guy, or is he going to be injured? Like if Juju were to be injured, let's just say this. What if they say Rashee Rice is suspended for 6 weeks, first 6 weeks of the year? The last week of camp, Juju hurts himself like he always does, and he may start the season on the PUP list or be out for 2 to 4 weeks, depending. What do you do in that situation? Like, that's why he's here. And then when the time came for him to be here, he's not here. Like he's injured, like Juju kind of does.
Well,
so
my response to that,
bit of a
response to that would
a dilemma.
My response to that would be the same as what I would probably say to Chris right here. Shout out our boy Chris Wright, member for 24 freaking months. Let's go. Says just got here. Tell me not to worry, Mike. You're talking about things to worry about. I'm firmly in the other boat. I don't think there's anything to worry about here at all. And the reason I'm saying that is we've been talking all offseason about the ridiculous depth of the wide receiver room.
Oh, agreed.
We're talking about guys that are not going to make the squad that maybe should, because there's just too many of them. I'm not going to freak out about 4 or 6 games or even 8. If they go total slap nut and suspend them for 8 games, I'm not going to freak out about it, because I think there's such a stable group of guys right there. pending injuries, like you said, that always can throw a wrench in the gears. But the way Xavier Worthy stepped up last year, the way Juju can step up, all the promise that Jaylen Royals shows, and then you got other guys that could come in here. I don't think people would be mad to see Nico Hermihio get snaps on the offense. Everyone's been wanting to see it. Skyy Moore might squeeze onto the team. That might be the worst thing for Chiefs Kingdom out of this entire scenario. They're going to be pissed about that, probably more than just missing Rashee Rice for 4 to 6 weeks. But I'll tell you one guy that's not going to be affected by this, and that's Justyn Ross, because he got cut. And why did he get cut, Mike? He asked the team, hey, get me out of here. This experiment's over. I got to go. So do you think that this is something that could be a trend? Like, not necessarily all the time, but is this something that Skyy Moore can look at and learn from? Like, hey, maybe I could do the same thing, get out of here and start it fresh. I don't know. So a lot of different things can happen here, but I'm not personally worried about how it plays out. I think the way this team's built and the depth they have at the wide receiver position, I'm not going to freak out. I'm just not.
Look, they got a lot of talent at the wide receiver position, but let's be completely honest. There is nobody on this team, nobody behind Rashee Rice that is going to bring to the field what Rashee Rice brings. So automatically, for whatever you just said, you said if they go slap nut and go 8 games, for 8 games, you're going to have a much, much less talented person on the field. And that's big. It's big, especially with an aging Travis Kelce.
And it doesn't even matter about the talent, right? Because it's the fact that it's Rashee Rice and he fits into the offense well, and that's what was working. I don't think it's about talent because, literally last year we went and got D-Hop after he was out, who you could argue has equal talent. I get it. He's older. He's not as fresh as Rashee Rice. He's not, you know what I'm saying? But talent-wise, we had it. We didn't use it.
Yeah. Look, I guess what I'm trying to say is this. Every year, there's guys in the back end of the wide receiver room that everybody gets just a little too fired up about. Let's be honest. It's always Justyn Ross usually. Yeah. And we've seen it. When he got on the field, he really didn't get a lot of opportunities. They really didn't take advantage of it. He went back into obscurity like the Homer Simpson meme, right back into the bush. Okay. So, let's be reasonable. If Rashee Rice does miss games and Juju, for some reason, is not healthy, and even if Juju is healthy, it's a downgrade. And what is wide receiver 5, 6, and maybe 7 ever going to give you? They're just not big time producers. They never are. What's Justin Watson? He was like wide receiver 3, 4 last year when Rashee went out, and then you had Hollywood Brown injured. And he didn't do nothing. So that's what I'm saying. And he was more like he was liked by the thing. He actually did more than Skyy Moore did last year. So I do not expect Skyy Moore, anybody to just come in. And that includes probably Nico at this point. It probably includes Tyquan Thornton. You're going to have to show me a lot more. And at the end of the day, if you're being real with yourself, none of these guys are going to come in and probably light the world on fire. There's probably like a 2%
Of course
chance.
not, because even if Rashee Rice is out, you're still looking at 4 other guys that are going to get all the snaps, regardless.
Right. I think Jaylen Royals might be the one to benefit the most.
I think so, too. We'll talk about that here in just a second. 2-bomb from Gray Skull says it's almost time, ACU. I think we got 50 more days and football's going to be on TV, something like that. It's wild to think
about. And the Chiefs are reporting to camp, man, at the end of this week.
Bro, so. It's coming, baby. It's going by quick now, and I'm loving it. Shout out to Gray Skull for the 2. And then Chris Wright with the 2-bomb says Elijah Badger just made it. A lot of people think that. I think Elijah Badger's an intriguing one because he is a UDFA, and, yeah, you can kind of get that Justyn Ross vibe. Like, hey, this guy could be great, but will he be? Or will he just kind of be, back in the background and then become insignificant in 2 years? It's yet to be seen, but I do think that he could be something. We saw what he was able to do in Florida, so I think the possibility is there. I think the ceiling's there. But like you said, Mike, it's really tough for these UDFAs to get in here and make a name for themselves. But maybe he might be able to squeeze his way onto the 53-man now, Chris. And then Slam and Sammy Joe with the 2-bomb. Says Rice, Worthy, Brown, Juju, Royals, we will be fine. And this is kind of where I'm at with it. That's the 5 guys I was saying they're still going to get 98% of the snaps. You still have Travis Kelce on the team. You still have Noah Gray on the team. And then we're talking about bringing in Brashard Smith as someone that can help contribute in the pass game. I think we'll be just fine if Rashee Rice is out for 6 to even 8 games. I think we'll be fine. Nothing to freak out about. Now, if you get 2 weeks in and you have a couple guys go down with injuries, then it starts getting a little iffy. But at the same time, even if you take 2 of those 5 off of there, you still have a better wide receiver core than you had 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl with them. So I'm just not going to freak out too much about this. In my opinion, I'm glad it's over. I want them to go ahead and suspend him, get it out of the way, and get it in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. I just think I just think you can't start relying and just saying we're fine. We've got guys like Nico.
No. I didn't mean that when I said Nico. I'm just saying that you got guys that could make the back end of the roster that if you saw them on the field, you're not going to freak out and be like, oh God. I think people would be okay with that.
That's a solid 5. It's a solid 5, but let's be honest. There's a big step between number 1, which is Rashee Rice, and number 5, which was Jaylen Royals, and number 4, which is Juju. There's a huge gap there between 1 and 4.
Maybe. That's the thing about it. You don't know what.
Let's not say maybe. Rashee Rice was on track to be the best wide receiver in football last year, and Juju had 170 yards.
No. I'll agree with that. I'll agree with the Juju thing, but if you're going to throw Jaylen Royals in there, I think it's a maybe. I think it stands as a firm maybe because Jaylen Royals has those same abilities and plays a lot like Rashee Rice and can do some things that Rashee Rice don't even do.
Completely fine. Still a rookie. Still Andy Reid's offense.
Exactly. But Rashee Rice was a rookie when he got to week 8 and then took off. Xavier Worthy was a rookie when he got to week 8 and took off. So I'm not going to count him out until I see it because
he's not getting to week 8. He may have to do this week 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I get that, but those guys started week 1, 2, 3, and 4 too. I'm just saying that these guys took off in their rookie year. I think he can do the same thing. And I also think that there's no way that the Chiefs lose enough games in the first 8 weeks unless they just completely forget how to play football and play like they did in the Super Bowl last year for the first 8 weeks, that they're going to lose enough games for it to be significant. I just don't see that. I think the Chiefs could lose five games this year and still be fine, still win the division. It's not. I just don't think it's worth hitting a panic button about yet. I'm almost more happy this is going to be over with. But
ready for it to just be done with it.
Yeah, I hear that train rolling in, baby.
Let's go.
We got our boy Chris Wright with the 5 gifted memberships. Let's freaking go, baby. If you get one of those, make sure to thank that legend in the chat. Also, Terry with a gifted membership. If you get that one, thank Terry in the chat. You guys are freaking awesome. Put some legendaries in the chat for those two.
Yeah, buddy.
Spreading the love, doing the Lord's work, growing the ACU crew, baby. Appreciate you guys. You guys are freaking awesome. Thanks so much for that. But yeah, man, there's a lot to unpack, and we will do that right after Javier Sanchez gets his 10 bomb here.
Let's go.
Appreciate you, brother. He says Patrick Mahomes is going off this year regardless. I sure hope so. Like, we all know he has it in him. It's just, can he get in the right headspace, and can things go his way just a little bit? Javier, you're the man, baby. Appreciate the 10, brother.
Appreciate it.
So let's talk about that. You said that you think Jaylen Royals benefits the most from this.
Yeah.
How do you kind of explain that? Why does he benefit the most? Is it because he will get more snaps early? Is that what it is? Do you think he's going to get more snaps than he was going to?
I think that Jaylen Royals right now is probably number 5 competing with Juju for number 4. Okay, that's obvious. So if you take Rice off of there, now he's 4 competing for 3, right?
Right.
So he's younger. If you look back at his college film, he's more dynamic. Look, he's just more dynamic. He's got better hammies. He's faster than Juju. He probably doesn't block as well. He probably doesn't know the offense as well. He's probably not that grit player, but he's got a lot of good to his game. Now, what this could do is if like you said, if he's suspended and maybe Juju were to get injured, maybe even Juju don't have to be injured, you could start rotating him in earlier in the year. So maybe he does come on late in the season like Xavier Worthy turned it on in week 12. Maybe he does come on like Rashee Rice at the end of his rookie season where he become Patrick Mahomes' go-to guy. This is going to give him a more opportunity to develop a chemistry with Mahomes, to learn this offense, and maybe at the end of the year during crunch time, and we absolutely must need him, maybe he can do it. Other than that, if you've got all 3 of these guys healthy or all 4 of these guys healthy, he may have very limited snaps. And if he does get snaps, it just may be situational. So I do think he does it. And this also gives him the potential to show Andy Reid that he can handle the workload. He can develop it with Patrick. He can catch the ball. He can make stuff happen. And maybe he starts getting more opportunities even when Rashee Rice is healthy. And that way, you've got a plethora of guys you can throw out there and keep everybody nice and ready to go and not tired. And you just got a nice little group there.
Well, here's the thing, man. I think it's all about how the team handles it or how they decide to go about it, right? Because I do think if Jaylen Royals were given the opportunity, if Rashee Rice goes out suspension and Jaylen Royals, let's get this straight, does a lot of the same things as Rashee Rice. People have even speculated already that they drafted Jaylen Royals to try to get him to that point to where they might not have to pay Rice when his contract comes up.
It's been rumored.
People talked about that, right? Which I don't believe that, but it's been thrown out there. But either way, if they were to put him, this would be a huge opportunity for him. But if they were to keep the offense the exact same and they literally just pluck Jaylen Royals and put him in Rashee Rice's spot and say, you're going to run these routes, you're going to do this job because you are very similar to him, let's do this, that's a huge opportunity for him. And if things work out the same way as it did with Rashee Rice, and all of a sudden you got a whole lot of other things to talk about, right? Like,
do you think there's a possibility here that we're all overlooking just the fact that Andy and that team trusts Skyy Moore and his ability for that playbook so much?
Why do we have to bring this up so much?
Because
I don't
is
think
there a possibility where they trust him enough that the early snaps, if Rashee Rice were suspended, could get to him faster than Jaylen Royals?
No. Zero.
You don't think
chance.
that's ever a possibility?
No, I don't. If they were going to give Skyy more opportunities, they would have done so already, because they've only gave him a handful. Like, let's be honest here. He did run a lot of routes.
A lot.
He was at one point, and he always was doing some kind of route that he probably shouldn't have been running.
Okay, so
he was out there doing special teams that he shouldn't have been doing.
So to my point, if you keep Skyy Moore because you like the fact that he could play all positions and they can trust him to run the routes and they trust him to know where he's at.
If they trusted him, he would be on the field.
This is the opportune time to use him. And if you don't use him here, then why does he make the team? That's my point.
I don't think that they trust him, or else he would already be doing it.
So
I think what he is a contingency plan.
To make the team then, right? If you're saying
in my opinion, no. In my opinion, no. I don't think you should, because you've already shown me that you will not use him. You're not going to give him the shots. So why even keep him on the roster? I'm right there with you on that. But I think they keep him around as a contingency plan because, hey, when the shit hits the fan, at least this guy knows the offense, right? Like, I get it, but I don't.
Doesn't the Rashee Rice suspension qualify as the proverbial crap smacking the fan?
It doesn't, because of what we already talked about. There's 5 other guys that are going to be getting all kinds of snaps. Here's my thing, dude. I don't think there's any way in any world, unless Skyy Moore makes some kind of drastic improvement throughout training camp this year, magically after 3 years, that they come out on game 1, if Rashee Rice is suspended, and put Skyy Moore in that position. I don't think that's even remotely going to happen, especially over Jaylen Royals.
Surprise me one bit by going back and watching the history over the past 3 years and how they've used these wide receivers. That would not surprise me.
So tell me this.
You cannot tell me you wouldn't be surprised.
I would be absolutely freaking surprised, because last year Rashee Rice went out with an injury, right? So he was gone. Guess what? He didn't get replaced by Skyy Moore then, and that's counting a freaking Hollywood Brown injury.
No,
he wasn't
Moore
there
had a
either.
lot of snaps.
Not what you think he did. And that's dude, I'm telling you, they would have already done
more
it.
Than he probably
it's not
should have
going to happen. I think that is just I think that's just something to throw out there just to get Chiefs Kingdom's panties in a wad. Like, I would tell you, Skyy Moore could make the 53-man roster, and I won't argue with you on that. But to say that he will be out there taking the snaps that Rashee Rice should have been getting, that's not going to happen, brother.
I'm not saying he's going to replace Rashee Rice's snaps 1 for 1. I'm just saying when it comes to moving all these guys around, there's going to be a lot of times that they could very well put him on the field. So he's going to have a lot of snaps.
I really don't think so, though. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Look, he didn't get any snaps past week 8, right? So he was injured. Okay, so check this out. In week 4, Rashee Rice goes out, right? Halfway through the game. He pulls in 13 total snaps. In week 5, he didn't get very many. He only got 6. They decided to go with a little juju there, a little juju action. In week 7, his last game he was healthy, he jumped his snaps double. He went to 33 snaps. So he was out for 2 weeks, and his snap count went from 6 a game to 33 that quickly.
Right. I don't see that being a thing. I don't. That doesn't help me.
I mean, honestly, I hope not. I'm just saying that if you trust the guy, from everything we've been told, they trust him. They trust that he can line up at every position. He knows the playbook. He knows where to be. So all I'm saying is if you're going to justify putting him on the 53-man roster and cutting some young talent, then these are the times that you would probably want to use him.
Right. Well, the only
Not
way
saying I would.
The only way that would happen is if they gave him the opportunity and he cashed in early and often. If they put him out there magically.
Right. You're saying to say they put him out for 7-10 snaps a game, but he does something, then it could gradually
and he
increase.
Starts building and he starts looking like who they thought he was, then absolutely. Maybe
What's the odds that would happen?
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening here.
I think everybody can get off that train. I do. I think if I was Skyy Moore, I'd be doing the same thing that Justyn Ross is doing. And it'd probably be doing everybody a favor.
I do think that would be smart. Can we talk a little bit about a few of the guys at the back end we've not talked about? Look, Tyquan Thornton, do you think, what is your odds here? And this is the thing about the Rashee Rice situation. If you know he's going to be suspended at some point this year, and now it looks like he will, and hopefully it's early, right? Does this mean that every little play, every rep in camp, every rep in the preseason, you have got to just watch Tyquan Thornton like a hawk? Because you got to give him 100% chance to make this team now. You've got to give the Elijah Badgers of the world a chance. You've got to give Magdalena a chance, believe it or not. Like, you've got to give all these guys a fair shot down the line. Even Nico, everybody's got to get it.
Jason Brownlee.
Yeah. Jason Brownlee, that's another one. I think you've got to be very, very keen on what you have because you may need those guys. So every snap now is very important, especially for a guy like Tyquan Thornton, because a lot of people forget that he was kind of the media darling here over the last few months.
But wasn't it already important? I feel like the way that wide receiver room was.
Do you think Tyquan Thornton could be the MVS / Justin Watson role that is kind of not there right now? Like, who's really running that role?
Right. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. I'm not going to name names, but there's Chiefs creators out there that I've seen all day talking about how the Chiefs need to go get Gabe Davis. If that's not the most dumbass thing I've ever heard in my life,
Dude,
I don't know what
I've heard Keenan Allen be thrown around. Let's not.
It's the same slapnut saying both. And here's the thing about it.
Let's not.
Why would you ever do that? Gabe Davis is just a fat version of MVS, right? That's all he is. He's a bigger version of MVS. No one cares. He stinks. We don't want him. Why would you do that when you have someone like Tyquan Thornton?
He's not on a roster right now. That should tell you something.
Right. Why would you do that when you have Tyquan Thornton, who can do that exact thing? Because by all means, what did MVS do? He ran to the goal line and back every play, and he blocked a little bit. I think we could ask that of Tyquan Thornton, right? So I think that we have what we need in-house. Now, will the Chiefs go sign somebody? Who knows? Brett Veach has done crazier things. If there's somebody out there they think that has some value that maybe they can pull out, they'll go get them. That's how Tyquan Thornton ended up here to begin with. But I just don't see it. I don't see it being any different than it was. And I think the back end of the wide receiver room and how that plays out was already tight. We've been talking about it all offseason. Like, if they take 6 wide receivers, who the hell's getting the 6th spot? Because there's no room. We got so many good receivers on this team. There's not any room for these camp darlings to make the team or these UDFAs to make the team. There's just not enough space. So now, okay, Rashee Rice gets suspended. That still doesn't really open up any space for anybody. I don't think it changes anything. I think that we could very well see Andy still go with just 6 wide receivers.
Yeah.
Rice take a suspension and that be that. And I think they have to look at different ways of changing it up. If Rashee Rice not being there is going to be that big of an issue or change the offense that much, which I don't think it will, but they can start looking at other things too. I saw someone bringing up in the chat Brashard Smith and trying to get back to the screen game. I do think that's coming.
That needs to happen.
It needs to happen. Right. I just think that there's a lot of different things that can happen there. Barring injuries, I don't see anything crazy happening.
Steve, this is the list right now. It's showing that these are the available wide receivers. You see anybody on that list that would possibly do anything?
No. 0.
Like, I don't think this has every single person because it does not have Keenan Allen on the
Well,
list.
I'm sorry, but let's just go by this list. There's not a single person on that list that I care to see in a Chiefs uniform. None. I would literally, like, you might as well put Skyy Moore on the football field if you're going to go with one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Right.
crazy. I just don't see that happening. I think that we stick with what we got and we roll with what we have.
Yeah,
But let's elaborate on that a little bit. Yeah, but let's elaborate a little bit and let's go into who do we think is going to be the guy that steps up in the absence of Rashee Rice. So let's just assume that he's getting suspended, and we've talked about all these scenarios. Who do you think it's going to be? So you mentioned it could be Skyy Moore that gets the snaps. It could be this person. It could be that person. Who do you think it's going to be, and who do you think is going to cash in on the opportunity?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think Juju is going to. That's why he's here, like basically, in my opinion. So I think Juju will get the first shot, the first crack at it. But like I said, Juju's a little unreliable. He's a little old feeling. He's not really old, but he feels old. He feels like his hamstrings are 60. So you just don't know what you have there. And then I do believe Jaylen, or not Jaylen, I'm sorry. You have, Jaylen Royals. You'll have Jaylen Royals behind him a little bit. And then depending on what he does, I mean, those should be your two guys. They should be your two guys. But again, if an injury comes along, and it's not like Jaylen Royals isn't battling, he missed all last season with an injury. It's not guaranteed that you can just put those two guys in there and they'll survive the whole time. Let's just put it that way. So worst comes to worst, who do you want to be wide receiver 6 or 7? Because they may play a part.
Right. We got a 5 bomb from Ron. Let's get to that, and then I'll tell you what I think about the situation. Ron says, shout out to FS1 for getting rid of that trash-ass show, The Break Ball, a.k.a. the Chiefs Hater Show. I will miss the facility, though. I saw that, man. They're getting rid of a lot of people. I saw, what's her name? What's the slap nut lady's name?
Taylor.
Joy Taylor got cut, man. Like, everybody's losing them jobs.
Dude,
another
honestly,
2 bomb, Breakfast Ball.
Yeah.
I knew what you, yeah.
Honestly, do you watch those shows? I don't watch them.
I don't. I really don't.
I have not watched an ESPN show. Probably, I want to say, I mean, I'll randomly watch Pat McAfee or something, and I know people are like, he sucks, he's stupid.
I think I only see it if it's on TV, if I'm out eating dinner and it's just on.
Right, like, but I'll never turn on an episode of Colin Cowherd.
I don't even watch
never
McAfee.
watch Fox Sports 1. Yeah, I don't hardly do that anymore. But like back in the day, I used to watch like little shows like PTI, Around the Horn. I would watch things like that, or like even NFL Live.
Those shows
would come
back
on.
then, they had a little bit of integrity, right? They throw out a hot take here or there,
And now
but they
it's
weren't
just
doing this dumb stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
right now it's just every channel is a slap nut saying the dumbest stuff to try to get people to watch. And
Right,
honestly,
man,
I'm glad these dudes are getting fired for it. Dude, we even had there was a thing today that come out, and I don't know if it's true or not. I wasn't able to verify it, but look, the radio is just a dying thing. And people's like, why is the radio dying? Apparently, there was a prominent radio host that said they would have rather had a slap nut cornerback than Patrick Mahomes on the roster this year based off last year.
See, it's just stupid. Like, it's all dumb, and like a lot of it.
So why do you
it's like,
say stuff like that?
It's not only that, but they'll like even try to pull politics in, or like identity politics. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Anything other than football or sports in general. Like, it's just all stupid. I would highly suggest anybody not watch anything that any of these major networks put out. Just go to YouTube and find what you're looking for. There's going to be somebody with more integrity and is going to tell you probably more accurately what's going to happen. So I just wouldn't waste your time. Shout out Ron with the $7 there, though. Appreciate you, brother. And then our boy Peter Ortiz with a 10 bomb says, no way in hell will Moore move in front of Royals or anybody else. Well, that's the thing, right? I don't think so either. I don't think there's any way in hell. But what Mike's saying is he might get the opportunity to. Like, so.
Also, what I'm trying to say is fans and talking heads have put Skyy Moore at wide receiver 6. For all we know, Andy Reid views him above Jaylen Royals right now anyway.
I'm not saying that he is not going to make the roster. I think that he very well could make the back end of the roster. But I just don't think that he's going to be used in any way differently than we've seen already. That's all I'm saying.
I'm very curious to find an actual depth chart as it sits. Now, I'm pretty sure they don't have one. I'm pretty sure that's not a thing that they've got out right now. Yeah, like it's not official on their website.
We'll see.
If you go to like a site like Our Lads or something,
they'll have him above Jaylen Royals on the first one. That's nothing to even.
They have Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice. and then they have Juju backing up Rashee. They have Jaylen Royals backing up Hollywood Brown, and then backing up Xavier Worthy is Skyy Moore. So again, that's their top 6 that they're going with. And I'm just trying to say, if Rashee Rice, Andy Reid's receivers must play all 3 positions. So all I'm trying to say is this. If in Andy Reid's mind, he thinks Skyy Moore can play all those positions more flawlessly than a rookie that's seeing the playbook for the first time, there's a very good possibility that he may even be higher on the depth chart as we speak right now.
Sure, maybe, but it's not going to stay that way.
Right. That's what.
Well,
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, but shout out Peter with the 10 bomb. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
And then we got Renee with the 8 months membership. Appreciate you. Says needing a payday for number 56.
I'm glad you brought this one up, baby.
Hey, we're going to get to that more here in just a little bit, Renee, because we're going to talk about that. Pretty Ricky came out and said they're already working on this. And that guy's been right about a lot of things, but he also could just be getting lucky. Who knows? We'll talk about that more in here a little bit, but I'm right there with you, Renee. Big George needs it. We need to keep him around here. And then TGZ with the 2 bomb says, I just tuned in. Who's Skyy Moore?
No idea.
No idea. I don't even know who you're talking about, TGZ. Appreciate the 2 bomb, though. And then Ron's back with another 5 bombs. Says, call me crazy. I can see Skyy going to Dallas and carving out a role for himself. 110%. Gabe Davis got paid for cooking Mike Hughes. What has he done since?
Nothing.
Nothing. You're exactly right.
I'm not a big Gabe Davis truther. I don't want him on here. And I'm with you. We've kind of said Skyy Moore probably does need to go to another team. And we actually mentioned Dallas. We think that an offense that would put him in a slot position, use him like that, and just force the ball to him 8 to 10 times a game. Right. I don't think Skyy Moore's dropping the ball 8 to 10 times a game. It's not happening. If he does that,
well, that's the thing. The narrative is bad hands. I've even seen it in the chat tonight. Skyy's got bad hands. He's Kadarius Toney. That's not true. It's just a false narrative, and I don't think it's anything to do with why he's not succeeding with the Kansas City Chiefs. We did see him drop a ball when he got his one opportunity last year, but before that, it was like I think he had 2 drops his entire career with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think
it all goes back to the punts, right?
Yeah, if you look through last year, I think he's only had like 5 drops his whole career.
I don't even know if it's that many. So, I mean, I just think that's a false narrative.
Ian, look it up.
But, yeah, look it up, Ian. Let's find out. Appreciate the 5, Ron. And then our boy Shane in the house with the 5 bomb says the only other NFL news channel I watch is FTF with Nick Wright. But y'all the best out there, in my opinion. Cole is good, but he does too many ads. Appreciate you, Shane. Nick Wright's cool, but I still think Nick Wright – I like him a lot. Don't get me wrong. It's funny. He's a Chiefs homer. Of course, you have to like him. But I still think he plays the game a little bit too. Like he's kind of got a little bit of that mainstream media in him. But yeah, if I'm going to watch it, I'd like to see him busting everybody's chops about the Chiefs. Appreciate the 5, man. And then I want you guys to put in the chat, who do you think is going to quote unquote save the season or fill in for that void of Rashee Rice during his suspension? I want everybody to put theirs in the chat. And Mike, I want you to get these ingredients together for me because I'm about to cook you. Okay, I'm going to cook it. We got one guy already on this team that I think is going to be that guy. I think it's obvious who that guy is going to be.
I'm scared.
It's Xavier Worthy. 110%. He did it last year when Rashee Rice went down with injury. He's just continuously got better. I think they're going to use him even more this season. I think they're going to use him in more ways this season. And I think Patrick Mahomes is going to throw the ball to Xavier Worthy when he's open on deep shots this year. I think Mahomes has had it with looking at tape and feeling like an idiot because Xavier Worthy was open by 15 yards and he didn't even throw him the ball. So I think that it's going to be what we saw last year. When Rashee Rice went down, Xavier Worthy picked up the pieces. And I think that's what we're going to see this season. I really do. Hollywood Brown could play a part in it. He's actually going to have the whole offseason and hopefully not get injured on the first snap of preseason, so he could have a bigger role in this offense. They planned on him having a bigger role in the offense last year before all that happened. But I absolutely think it's 100% Xavier Worthy is a guy that's going to come in and keep the Chiefs afloat while Rashee Rice is serving his suspension. Right. I just think that's who it is.
Well, look, Ian provided me with some stats on some drop stats for Skyy Moore. He's had 4 drops his entire career. Now, look, Last year, he had 2 targets. He dropped both.
That's what did it.
Right. He dropped 2 targets out of 2. So back to back, he had one in week 4 and he had another one in week 7. He dropped it. So 2 targets, 2 drops. But prior in years 2022 and 2023, he only had 1 drop per season. So technically, he's got 4 drops through 3 years. And so I wanted to say, look, you don't get a lot of targets. So let's just look at your drop rate percentage. So overall in his career, he's had 79 targets total. He's dropped 4. He has a 5% drop rate. When Rashee Rice was drafted out of college, he had a 12% drop rate.
Yeah.
So just saying. So yes, in a small segment last year, he Kadarius Toney'd it pretty hard. But just like golf or anything, you can get in your own head, and I think
exactly.
That
so that's I want to kind of maybe.
But I totally understand why people say drops. I get it. When you're on the field,
right.
You get targeted once a week, and you drop it every freaking time.
But I think that's easily explainable, right? Because first of all, once again, we don't have to say it a million times, but it was the punt returning. He did not do that ever in his entire football career. They decided it was a good idea. He just couldn't field a punt. He didn't know how to do that. It just wasn't his thing. That got in his head. That also got the fans to where they didn't like him already. He sucks. He can't catch the ball. There's that narrative. He can't catch the ball. He had the lowest drop rate in the entire FBS in his senior year. Like, he is sure-handed, right? He's the opposite of that.
Well, that's why they liked him.
Right. So then when that happens, you got the fans coming with their pitchforks. He's a young guy. That's the first thing he's done with the team. It got in his head, right? And then he loses all of his opportunities. And then he finally gets back out there. I'm with you. I think it could be one of them things where he was just in his head. It's almost like the yips, if you will. Like, that's literally how he went drop last year and got completely pushed to the side. I think that all culminated to that. And it is what it is. I think it killed his career in Kansas City. I think he needs to move on 100%. But that's just all there is to it. We'll see how it goes, though.
I don't think there's much that he could do to win the fan base back over.
No,
barring just coming out looking like T.O. or something.
Yeah, well,
like you're not going to do it.
If I was Skyy Moore, I would have the motivation to do that, and I would do everything I could to do that, just to make them all look like a bunch of hypocrites when they're kissing his ass after a 1,000-yard season, right? But
he ain't
that's never happening. It's never happening. But in his head, he can dream about it, right?
Michael Daly.
Michael Daly, a new member. Let's go, baby. Welcome to ACU crew. Love the Beavis and Butthead.
I was going to say that too.
Heck yeah, baby. Mike, that was pretty good. You almost sounded like him for a second.
Man,
that's right, baby. Nice and slow. Oh, yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Hey,
appreciate you, Michael.
Boing. Can we look? You know what's firing up the boing?
Let's five bomb.
Okay, let's do it.
By Shipwrecked, baby. That's what's firing up the boyoings, okay? He says, I feel Brashard Smith might have a bigger impact to replace Rice, potentially. So, absolutely. I don't know. He's not going to just replace Rice as the wide receiver. Now, I do think, and you'll hear more about this on another video we got coming out real soon with Bob from the Buck and Bob podcast, but I do think there might be some weird things in store for Brashard Smith that people aren't expecting, right? Like maybe we could see something that's happened with the Chiefs several times in the past with guys that are these tweeners, right? Yeah. So we'll talk about that more, but I do think Brashard Smith could be a big piece in the offense this year. So I like that, Shipwrecked. Appreciate the 5 bomb. Shout out Shane Borg with the gifted membership. Let's freaking go, baby. If you got that from Shane, think I'm in the chat. Y'all put some legendaries in the chat for those two. We appreciate the donos. And then, Mike, I think Peter Ortiz is coming in here hot.
Uh-oh.
With the 25 bomb.
Let's go.
Says Worthy engine started towards the end of last season. He will be operating at max RPM this year. I do think that he built a lot of confidence last year. And from what we saw when he first got in the league to what he was at the end of the season, I think was a significant leap. Yeah. But I will say that he was never afraid. Like, that kid came in ready to go his first game. That first touchdown he had against, was it Baltimore, I think?
Yeah, Baltimore.
Just insane, dude. Yeah, like, I think that he's just that guy, right? And I think that Xavier Worthy is more of a well-rounded receiver than people gave him credit for. Everybody thought he was just the next John Ross. He's just the fast guy. That's not the case with him. This kid does a lot of things, and he does a lot of things well. And I'm with you, Peter. I think he's going to come out this season ready to go. And I think that we can attribute a couple things to that. A, just him, his work ethic, his mentality, and his talent, right? Then he's in a good situation with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and working with all these guys. And I think you can also shout out D-Hop for some of the development that we saw with Xavier Worthy, because he kind of took him under his wing and he kind of played mentor that back half of the season. And that's when we saw a significant leap in his game.
Yeah.
So I think we can give him a little bit of credit where it's due. A lot of guys with a high profile of D-Hop would have came in and been used as a decoy and them not throwing the ball. And he could have very well got pissy and been a locker room cancer or this or that. But he chose not to do any of that. He chose to take
Johnson.
he chose to take Xavier Worthy under his wing and help that boy develop. And I think it's freaking awesome. So shout out Peter with that 25 bomb. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
Sammy Joe with the 2. So I think Worthy will be our number 1 wide receiver in 2026. Royals WR3. Man, I don't know. It's going to be interesting how it all plays out. I do think Juju will eventually, be out of here, right? I think just natural attrition is going to get Juju in a year or two. So I think as long as Jaylen Royals can come in and do what we think he can do and perform and cash in on the chances that he does get, absolutely. I could definitely see the top 3 dogs in this wide receiver room being Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and Jaylen Royals for years to come. Now, how they're going to pay all them guys if they all pan out, that's a whole nother story. And I'm sure that 1 or 2 of them might not be here after the rookie contracts, but we'll see how it all plays out. Appreciate the 2 bomb. But yeah, Mike, you were going to say something before everybody just rudely interrupted with these donos, right?
No, I was just going to talk
how
about.
How dare they?
I was going to talk about the defense a little bit. A lot of people thought that Trent McDuffie was next up in the contract line, and the rumors were it might be George Karlaftis. And just a little while ago, TJ Watt and the Steelers reached a 3-year contract extension. Massive amount. It was actually 3 years, $123 million. This dude's going to be 31 years old this season.
Mike, he just wanted one better than Myles Garrett. Just one better, baby.
This is a crazy contract, in my opinion. It's just wild. Do you think this has any bearing on the George Karlaftis contract, or do you think it's not apples to apples enough?
It's not. It's not at all. I think what you see happening with this TJ Watt contract is literally them giving him his flowers, right? Like, this kid, by all means, in this last decade, has been the best pass rusher in the league. I don't care what anybody has to say about Myles Garrett. I don't care what anybody says about Max Crosby or whoever. Granted, those guys, you might say they're better. They might be better. But he's been the most productive and best pass rusher in the last decade. Just end of story. And I think that he deserves this contract. After seeing Myles Garrett get paid that much, I think it's okay. I think that's the Steelers doing right by their guy there, right? But I don't think that has anything to do with George Karlaftis, because George Karlaftis is not TJ Watt. He is not in the echelon of TJ Watt. I don't even know if he's on the same boat as TJ Watt. But George Karlaftis is good. And I think George Karlaftis is somebody we want around long term. So I think you still try to get this extension done, but I don't think that has any bearing on it, because I don't think George has any ground to stand on if him and his agent get up there and be like, well, TJ Watt just got, $41 million a year. Whoa. Because they're going to look straight at him and be like, hey, George, we love you, but you're not TJ Watt, A
lot of people are saying that, but it would not surprise me, though, because what the contract does is drive up the market for the position. So, again, it's not the same. If you go to a car lot and you buy a Bentley, it's going to cost more than going and buying the Honda Civic, right?
Of course, yeah.
Fully understand that. But what it does do is, for example, if you're using the car, inflation raises all cars. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it could by default. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be like apples to apples. Like,
I mean, it is. Yeah, I get what you're saying. The market's raising, right?
Market
Of course.
raises a little bit. And look, we just seen it happen with Sauce Gardner. Like the market is rapidly raising. And I think now look, everybody says the Chiefs are broke and this and that. Look, Brett Veach and them have done a very good job at keeping up. They've been paying for our own homegrown talent here lately. They're actually going out like there were times they were a little cheap in the wide receiver market or this or that. And we don't have the money and we didn't have the money to sign Snead and blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, they're paying their guys. I mean, they just reset the market with Creed. They reset it with Trey Smith. I think that now they're not going to reset the market with George Karlaftis. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But McDuffie, I mean, there's a possibility there. Now, I don't think McDuffie should get paid to set the market. I don't think McDuffie's the best corner in football. He's top 5 for sure, top 3 maybe.
Right, but does the best one never?
It really
resets the
doesn't
market,
matter
right?
because Trey Smith, by all accounts, is not the best guard in the game, and he reset it. So
exactly.
It's one of those things where
It's
like
timing, right?
salary caps are raising every single year. The revenue from the league that's being shared is raising every single year at a rapid rate because of, I mean, technically like just us having a football show that gets people fired up and happy gives money to the NFL, and then they come back and tag our videos and take our money from us. So congrats. But yeah, everything we do helps the NFL, and they just keep getting big. It's a runaway train at this moment.
To your point, though, I think it's all about timing, right? Because if you look at the quarterback position, by all metrics, the best cornerback in the league is probably Pat Surtain. He reset the market. Right after him, Sauce Gardner. He reset the market. Well, guess who's the third best? It's Trent McDuffie. So guess who might set the market next? I just think that's how it goes.
Right. And look, J.C. Horn got paid a big bunch. Derek Stingley got paid a big bunch.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, you just never know how it's going to be. So that's why I'm saying, even with T.J. Watt, you're upping the price. Technically, though, isn't he kind of counted as a linebacker, or do they count him as a defensive end?
He's an edge rusher.
I mean,
right?
he rushes off the edge for.
I don't know if it even matters anymore in today's game. All right, we got our boy Cobra Kai Ty in the house. Let's go, baby. Appreciate the 20 bomb, brother. Good to see you. He says, "What's up, fam? Hope everyone's well. Been a busy summer doing stuff to the house and yard. Had to change banking stuff and forgot to have my membership stuff. Do the auto renew. Got to renew it. When is the Chew with the Crew? That will be August 2nd, correct? August 2nd.
It's a Saturday.
From 7 to 9 p.m.
Yep, 7 to 9 p.m.
Central
at Zarda.
Time at Zarda. Same place, same time. Can't wait to see everybody there. So we'll try to get like a little flyer going in rotation. That way you guys can mark it down in your little calendars and things like that, because you got to come out and hang out with everybody this year. We want this to be the biggest one to date. Okay, so we want to see as many faces as we can at Zarda. We want to pack the place and have a good time. So we'll get the word out. We'll help get the word out, and you guys help us get the word out, and it's going to be a fun time. Appreciate the 20, Cobra Kai Ty.
Yeah,
Good to see you,
brother.
Good to see you, man. Man, Mike, I don't know what StreamYard did, but your microphone has reverted back to like when we first started with StreamYard. Every time there's someone, like if I'm talking or that like a sound's playing at all, your mic just cuts completely out.
Yeah, I don't know.
They've what have they done here? I thought they fixed this.
They've messed with
ago.
a lot of stuff. I don't know. It is what it is. Like, these are all things we can't help.
I know, right? Peter Ortiz with the 2 bombs says, "Mike, call Big Ben and get his opinion." Mike, call him up.
I blocked him.
You blocked him.
I ain't taking no calls from Big Ben anymore. He's got a big old fat head. Somebody told me that he looked like he was completely like just high as a kite that entire interview. Like,
Mike,
what
did
did
someone
you think?
tell you one time that you looked like Ben Roethlisberger?
No.
I'm almost positive we were somewhere and
never
someone
heard
said that you looked like Ben Roethlisberger, and I got a good laugh out of it. Yeah.
Ben
You don't remember that?
Roethlisberger.
Yes, I remember that. That happened. That was real life. Because I think at
I
the
don't
same
remember
time, like at the time it happened, you did the same thing. Like, what?
I don't remember.
But
I mean, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I don't remember that.
That's so funny. Yeah, you better quit talking about his big head, brother. You got one
Why?
too.
I got a giant head.
You got to wear a size 8 hat.
I wear a size 8 fitted hat. And look, I'm proud of my big ass head because I got a lot of
All that
knowledge in this thing, Brett. Like, come on, what are you talking about? If my head shrunk down to like a pea, I'd be like 99% of the other people we're watching out here.
Yeah, true. Got to be careful with that. Let's go, baby. And then we got a 2 bomb from Sammy Joe. Says
Go.
McDuffie is top 5 cornerback and number 1 in the slot. Pay him. I'll take it one further, Sammy. I think McDuffie, literally by all metrics, is a top 3 cornerback in the league. And did you know over the last couple of years, going by like PFF standards or their metrics, they said that he was leading the league in a lot of the statistics, and also he was number 2 in a majority of them. But he's still graded out at 3rd best for them. I think McDuffie's a top 3 cornerback for sure. Like I'd put him. I feel like McDuffie's a little bit. He's ahead of Stingley and he's ahead of J.C. Horn and some of those guys to me. I just think he's better.
Right. Well, the coaches, execs, and scouts come out with their yearly thing where they ask them to rate their top 10 corners.
And everybody put their own corners at the top.
Well, no, not really. Pat Surtain come out number 1, but they put Derek Stingley at 2, and they put Denzel Ward at 3, and then McDuffie come in at 4, which surprisingly, I mean, he's still above Sauce Gardner, Christian Gonzalez, J.C. Horn, Jalen Johnson.
I'm taking McDuffie,
right
Sauce
there.
Gardner, and Christian Gonzalez before I take Denzel Ward or Derek Stingley. That's just my opinion.
I will say Derek Stingley has been a lot better than I thought he was going to be.
Though.
But when he come out, I thought he was just going to be like literally like a guy that was injured and just get a bunch of money and quit. But he's actually looked okay.
Not so sure it's not still going to happen. We'll see though. We'll see. Man, it's been a good conversation tonight, but let's just recap just a little bit. Rashee Rice, he got sentenced this morning, looking at 5 years of probation, 30 days he has to serve in jail. He can serve that at any time over the 5 years. So I think that he got off pretty light. His lawyer did good by him, but I also think he's paying a price there, right? So we're hoping he learns from it. We will be looking at some kind of suspension from the league. They usually wait on that sentencing, so they have criteria to go by. Now they have it. Now we'll see what they do with it. Hopefully they give him his suspension at the beginning of the season and get it over with. I think it'll be somewhere between 2 and 6 games. In his absence, I think that all of us are very hopeful that Jaylen Royals can step up as a rookie and get some opportunities. And I think we also think the majority that Xavier Worthy is going to be that next guy that really takes over. But I do think Hollywood Brown could play a more significant role this season as well. That's kind of where we're at with everything. And it's just, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad all that's done. At least it's not going to be like, well, there's that suspension looming. That suspension's looming. Just get it done. Let's get it done. People's been talking about that for what feels like 2 years now.
Man, I'm going to say, like, I'm glad it's coming to an end. But I thought that maybe his lawyers would do a pretty good job here. But I did not think that they were going to be able to get him to plead guilty to 2 felonies and then him get a deferred adjudication, basically. So that way, if he completes that probation period, the case is just dismissed at that point.
That's right. Like
it's done. And he don't even have that on his record.
That's
great I don't know how they pulled that off. That to me is just wild that they got that.
Hey, seen crazier things happen.
So do you think that the entire time, public perception and just Chiefs hate, and maybe the fact that he just, nobody likes the Chiefs. He's a diva wide receiver. Like he gets that rap. Like, do you think that just was all a big thing, like blown out of proportion? Like some people were like, he's going to prison for 50 years over this. Like,
I think that was people hoping.
There was a lot of people hoping and wishing. So I think that just hit so much that like once you see what really happened, and we kind of said this, did we not say this in the beginning? We were like, look, he's a rich athlete with a good lawyer. He's going to get a slap on the wrist, and everybody was even like coming at us and being like, I don't know if you guys are right this time.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude basically he walked scot-free, basically. Let's just put it that way. His finances is going to take a little bit of a hit, but when it comes to the actual side of punishment, this dude got a big time slap on the wrist, and I think he needs to thank the good Lord for that one because
yeah, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
it could have been a lot worse.
Move on, do better, all that good stuff. And I think he will. I have faith that he will. He seems to have learned a lot from it already, and I think he'll continue feeling the wrath of that for a while, right? So, I'm like Sam said, I mean, Ruggs only got 3 to 10 years in prison for killing somebody, which and literally, I understand that he was driving 100 plus miles an hour and hit a car. So he was also feeling those effects, but he literally went to the sidewalk and watched her burn. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, what are we talking about here? I don't know. We'll see how it all goes. Hopefully he learned his lesson and we can get this in the past. But, hey, man, football's kicking off, baby. Camp starting this next week. We're only a few days away from camp, which is absolutely insane. Once again, I just want to go over a couple things with you guys. Chew with the Crew, August 2nd from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time at Zarda in Blue Spring. We'll get that posted somewhere, but be marking that in your calendars. We want to see a record number this year. I want to see more people than we have in the last two. Just let's cram them all in and really pack Zarda and have a good time. So let's get the word out about that. Also, we will have a video coming out tomorrow. We recorded it earlier. I've been to my work at my second job. I've been here doing this, and I'm about to do about 6 or 7 more hours of editing. So you guys can have a video tomorrow with a guest, Mr. Warren Sharp, a football analyst, if you know him. A great conversation. Great conversation. This guy,
I will say,
has
man,
so much knowledge.
He impressed me a little bit today.
This guy knows his stuff, and dude, the way he digs into football, like I'm talking game by game, play by play, is absolutely impressive. And we had a great conversation with him, and I think you guys will really enjoy that. So it'll be out tomorrow. Do your boys a favor, and when that video comes out tomorrow, which it should be probably 1 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Central Time, watch that video, click on it, watch the whole thing, like it, leave a comment, and let's get that thing in the algorithm and get it rolling because it's a very good conversation. And Warren is not a Chiefs fan. He covers all NFL teams. He wrote an entire book that we talk about a little bit in the episode. But I will say that he's very optimistic on the outlook of the Chiefs. Like, he had some great things to say, and I really thought the conversation was great. And I know you guys are going to love it. So make sure that you click that video tomorrow and check it out, man. It's going to be very, very cool.
Look, I'll even say this. Off the camera, off the record, before we wrapped and told him, have a good day, he actually said that to us. He was like, look, I've done a lot of shows over the past few weeks for a lot of different teams. And he was like, all chiefed up. You guys know your stuff. You guys are awesome. Appreciate it. And I said, thank you, Warren. Appreciate you. And he said this, and I thought this surprised me, Steve. He said that out of all these teams, the Chiefs intrigue him the most because even though he thinks that they probably lose more than 2 games this year, that they're going to be better in all aspects and that this team is going to be another Super Bowl favorite team. And if anybody don't think that, they don't know ball. That's what he told us. Yeah. And I thought that was very good coming from him that digs into all this and all these analytics. Like, he's very solid on the Chiefs, man. It's a great conversation. You guys have to watch it, man. It was so good. It was like one of my favorite ones I've ever been a part of, man.
Absolutely, man. So you guys be sure to check that out. I'm going to work hard on it tonight. Mike's going to work hard on it in the morning.
Yeah.
So make sure you click it and watch it and like it and all that fun stuff. Also, do us a favor. If you haven't liked this live stream, click that like button on your way out tonight. We would appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you should be. Click that subscribe button. Hang out with us for the rest of the season. It's about to kick off, baby. It's literally almost football season because once camp starts, it's all downhill from there. Ooh. Before you know it, it's preseason.
Once
Before
camp
you
gets
know
going,
it, season has started.
Yeah.
Brother,
you blink, and it's going to be Thanksgiving game. And then you're going to blink again, we're going to be in the Super Bowl. Yep.
Can't wait. We want as many Chiefs fans, and even if you're not a Chiefs fan, if you're just a football fan, click that subscribe button. Hang out with us. Let's do that thing, man. Also, if you'd like to become a member of the channel, definitely think you guys should do that. It starts at $4.99 a month. You can click join if you have a join button at the top of your chat. If you don't, just go to join.allchiefedup.com. And become a member. You get a lot of perks there. We have a whole video series that's just members only. I think they've been pretty fun, and it's called The Hot Seat. We have different Chiefs creators or different creators in general, asking them questions, playing a game with them. It's a pretty fun time. So make sure to do that. Also, merch. I want to bring up merchandise for a second. We have a store. It's just merch.allchiefedup.com. A lot of you guys have bought merchandise from there. Very much appreciate it. And I urge you to continue to do that. Go to that website, buy up some merchandise. It comes back to us. It helps the channel grow. You get cool stuff for it. There's great merchandise on there. But I will say this. I'm in the middle of finding a new drop shipper. I'm going to find a new one.
A new middleman, basically, because we're having some problems with him. I think our boy Brian Parrott bought himself a shirt all the way back in December. And don't let this deter you because it's only happened one time.
Yeah.
But they did not get his stuff to him for like 4 months.
Yeah.
So
I don't like the way that was handled.
Yeah, we argued with them over that. Like,
but there's a lot of other stuff on the back end that's really making that decision. So
yeah, don't be afraid to buy the merch. But we're probably going to move that. We're also going to revamp the store, put some new stuff out.
Absolutely,
we're doing a lot of stuff there.
That was the whole point there. We're going to revamp the whole store, have a new store release, and have some new stuff on there. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming in tonight and doing your thing. It's been a lively chat. That's always a good time. Appreciate all you guys that donated and everything. Goes a long way. Thank you so much. Do your boys a favor, hit the like button on the way out. Also, share this stuff with your friends, man. If you know any Chiefs fans or got any family or anything that would like to watch some Chiefs content, make sure to send a link their way, and let's do this thing. And, look out for that video tomorrow. You better watch it. You better click it. You better watch it. We're going to come get you. Go Chiefs.
Get wild.